then the Breakfast Club happens.
That all happened at the same time, to be honest with you. Like me figuring out me knowing that I was leaving and Breakfast Club opening up, it all happened because I bullied my way into getting a guest hosting position. Like they didn't know me. I had never met or worked with Charlamagne, Envy, Angela Yee. I didn't know the EP who was booking Eddie F, who was booking everybody for the guest hosting. They didn't know me from a can of paint. They might have seen like, okay, the girl from TMZ, but like nothing. But I was on my best bully. Like I was like, okay, I want to make sure that because I wasn't even thinking about it like the job was going to be mine. To be honest with you, I watched the show. I was a fan of the show, every interview, every whatever, because of what I do. Mm-hmm. But also I just enjoyed the show. So like I watched it and I could tell from the natural progression of the guest host and how much Jess was there. I'm like, oh, the job is basically hers. They just haven't announced it yet. Like I already knew that. So when the opportunity came for me to have a day, it was literally supposed to be one day. When that opportunity came, I went in there knowing like, yo, the job is Jess's job.
But how did you get the opportunity to even have the day?
So what I started to do was being resourceful. I was reaching out to anybody I knew who had ever walked inside of the Breakfast Club. I was sending them my resume and my reel, like, yo, send this to them. So I mean like publicists, managers, artists, just homies of theirs, like anybody. And what's so crazy is the day that Angela Yee announced that she was leaving, it was trending. There's an interview she did for TMZ right outside the station. I cold called her and booked that, like, yo, we need an interview with you on your way out. And I just jokingly, I was just like, I was asking her, because I was trying to get the story. I'm like, well, what's next? Like, what's about to happen? What are they looking for? Does it have to be a celebrity? Like, you don't even have to know a name, but just give me a criteria what they're looking for, because that alone is a story right now. She's like, yo, they don't know what they're looking for. And I'm like, and I'm joking. I'm like, oh, they're going to take a shot on little brown girl on her grind. And she like, don't know what they're looking for. Shoot your shot. And I was like, for real? Like, I'm not a celebrity. And she was like, it doesn't matter. They don't know what they're looking for right now. And I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't know her. I didn't know if that was true. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. So I just did that, and it had gotten back to me a couple times. Like people would send me screenshots of their responses, like, yo, we keep getting her resumes and her reels. Tell her hit Eddie, blah, blah. And I'm like, who is Eddie? So my manager did some digging with some radio contacts that she had, and we got in contact with Eddie F, who's the EP. And I flew in town. My mom had a doctor's appointment, so I flew in town. And I told my manager, like, if we don't figure out a meeting, I'm going to that studio. I'm just going to sit there until Eddie F walks downstairs. And she was like, no, don't do that. I'm going to figure it out. I was like, figure it out or not, I'm doing this. I'm just telling you. She figured it out.
I know that's right, Loren.
I didn't have a choice. My life depended on it. Nobody
hustles anymore because they expect things to be handed to them. And nobody wants to work for shit.
Yeah.
The grind is missing. So how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
33.
The fact that you are 33 years old, and you, obviously this happened a couple years ago, whatever, or maybe a year ago.
About, what is it? Maybe 2 years ago now?
2 years ago. So you were 31. But the fact that you had that as a millennial.
Yeah, I had 2 birthdays since then, yep.
Yeah, to say, I'm going to stay in this lobby until I get the opportunity.
But I come from that, though. Like, I worked in fashion my whole life, and I've interned, and I've, you know what I mean? Like, I've carried garments down Fifth Avenue in a snowstorm because you got to do Christmas returns for Cosmopolitan magazine. Like, I you know what I mean? I sit in a really great space of, like, I come from the generation of, like, we still had to work and intern and do things, but also I understand, like, social media and how you can make things go where you don't got to do all that because they need you.
Yeah, but it doesn't last long. So here you are. It doesn't. Work hard. So the thing with you is the fact that when you were offered to be there for the day, was that during the process of them still auditioning people, or was that when Jess was on maternity leave?
No, that was when they were auditioning people. But again, I told you, even when they were auditioning people, I knew, I'm like, yo, the way that I'm a producer. I work in television, right? So I'm like, the way that they're leaning into her, this is her job. Like, they would not, if it was a neutral situation, if the people in the room didn't have, you know, like any say-so in it, like, you know, I understood from the outside perspective what was happening. I'm like, the guys have to have a say-so. Obviously, they're leaning in. I thought she was doing a good job. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought compared to the people that had been there, I'm like, some of the people they brought in were like so celebrity that it was like, there's no way. And then some of the people, you know, I just felt like, okay, it works, but like, I don't see this longevity wise. She was and I knew, I'm like, because of their age range, they have to get somebody young. Like the Breakfast Club, to me, in my opinion, just as a fan watching it, but also as a producer and someone who understood, you know, content and television, I'm like, you can't get someone their age. It's not going to work for them.
Right.
And she was young and she was, you know what I mean? So I was like, this makes sense. So I came in on that one date. I wasn't coming in there like, this is going to be the rest of my life. I came in there like, this is my PR rollout. This is my announcement that like I quit my job and this is going to help me get another job. I did not come in there like, oh, I'm going to work here. I will say that morning though, I was like, okay, we're going to show up to work like it's your job, only because I didn't want to be nervous. Like I had never met them. So I didn't want to psych myself out. And they didn't know that I quit TMZ. They didn't find out until 3 minutes before I went on air when they asked me how to introduce me. And they were like, can we say senior news producer at TMZ? I said, well, you could, but I quit the job. So say former senior news producer.
So when you got the job to be the producer of the Breakfast Club, did that happen during Jess's maternity leave?
So let's back up. When I was guest hosting there, before it was announced that Jess had the job, we had already been having conversations, like just internally, like, you know, about that there being a need for that. And them seeing that I could fill that role. So that was the plan already. Like for a while, that was the plan. But there was just internal things that like held it up or whatever. And it I wouldn't even say it came to fruition when she went on maternity leave. I wouldn't say that. I think when me coming in and filling in for her was like, that was their way of being able to get me on a payroll of some sorts. But even in and still, like I was solely there just filling in for her. It wasn't until we had internal conversations where it was like, okay, well, you're already here. Jess is coming back. You'll take a step back and go into the senior news producer role that we had been talking about for like 6-7 months. So, I had a great time on air and things were moving so greatly, but I was just like, what am I going to do with it? Like, I'm just grateful right now to be able to pay my bills. So, yeah, sure, cool. I'll take a step back. Let's do that.
When Jess came back from maternity leave and you were still there, did you feel any tension?
I didn't feel tension, but I did feel like I had to walk on eggshells. I felt like I felt, to be honest with you, I felt guilty because I felt like, okay, because I'm here now, things are different. And she has to navigate a lot. Like she has to navigate. She just had a baby. Like, and I'm watching it in real time. And I think that's where my empathy for her comes in at. With all of this stuff is because in real time, I'm watching her return to a job. She's like new mom, like she's pumping at work. You know what I mean? She's trying to figure it out. Like, and everything is changing because I'm here. And I wasn't even on camera when she first came back. It was more so just me working with her in the show as a producer. But, the way that I do things because of my background is a lot different than what she was used to. But I think that at the end of the day, she was grateful for structure. And I think everybody was grateful for us figuring out a new structure because it was needed. And that's why the role was even like, okay, how can we figure this out? But I did feel like, that there were eggshells that I had to walk on. And not because anybody told me I had to, but just me as a person, I just felt like, okay, I don't want to be a burden. Like, I don't want to be the reason that this woman is feeling like, because I'm a woman too, so I know how it feels to be in a workplace and not feel supported. I wanted to be more of a support for her than like, oh my God, I got to deal with this for her. And I also kind of felt bad that like I was good at what I did.
Let's have a real conversation, okay? You're there, and all of a sudden, people are like...
It just happened out of nowhere.
We love Loren.
Yeah.
And I see you tearing up. But I want to have a real conversation because I know what happens in this industry when you are given an opportunity that you wanted badly. And baby girl, you were praised to the high heavens. And sometimes when God blesses you with an opportunity, it can sometimes be at the expense of someone's pain, especially when you're not doing it directly yourself. You're just being you. And I do see you crying. And I want to ask you this. Are those tears because when you talked about you felt guilty just being good, when you were getting praised and praised and praised, internally, did you realize she may feel not so great?
I mean, I think you think about that, like, of course you think about that, but that's not what this is. This is like because that was there, but I didn't focus on that because I know the type of person that I am, and I know that the environment that we're in, like, the guys are so like, let's figure this out. Let's figure this out. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a family at the Breakfast Club, and that's what I love about it, and that's why I love being there, that, like, I really wasn't too worried about that. I was excited. I couldn't wait for Jess to come back. I was excited for us to work together. I was excited for us to figure it out. I'm like, yo, I come from a platform where it's like, it's just me, and they're not letting nobody else in, and I always thought that was crazy, and, like, I needed the camaraderie. Like, it's so much you deal with when you're on camera, and you know what I mean? Like, even behind the scenes, like, I was excited to kind of have that like sisterhood. So I wasn't worried about that. I think for me, what you're seeing is like, it was just like, dang, like, this is all just like really, like, it was like exciting. And it was just like, this is everything I've worked for. Like, regardless if I was never on camera a day, ever, right? Like, ever again at the Breakfast Club, because I was fine with that. Like, I was fine with, like, Grant, don't get me wrong. You tell me get on camera, I'm gonna get on camera. Like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But I was okay with the fact that, like, yo, I just did so well. I had so much coming my way. Like, when I tell you, I ain't never seen my phone get beat down like that. Like, I mean, any outlet, any platform, from streaming to blogs to radio, like, there were so many people and so many things reaching out to me. And I was in a space where I was really just trying to figure it out. So to go from trying to figure it out, how am I going to make this work? I just left a job. Was I crazy for leaving that job? To, like, all I do is get on air and be myself. And now everybody's like, what do you, not even we have this job for you, but what do you want to do? How much do you need to do it? And I'm like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. Like, that transition of life, I was just like, oh, this is God.